Many thoughtful, sensitive Americans are concerned. They're convinced that we as a culture, the majority of people in the United States, are beginning to become alienated. We're beginning to divide. We're beginning to become hostile towards each other. We are falling apart as a culture. According to Jesus Christ, the reason that we become alienated from each other is because we are sinners, which means we have this ability to freely choose what we're going to think, believe, do, and act on. And when we abuse that freedom, what happens is we begin to be mean to each other. We begin to judge each other. We begin to look down on each other. We begin to be torn apart by racism, by sexism, by hatred, by meanness, by self-absorption, by walking all over people, by being dishonest, by cheating people, by manipulating people. That is a sin problem. And that is why Jesus Christ is so relevant to our lives, to our nation today. A true story that comes out of Italy goes as follows. There was an Italian truck driver who liked to visit brothels and be entertained by prostitutes. He had a few other truck driver friends who also liked to visit brothels and have sex with prostitutes. One day, another fellow truck driver told this first Italian truck driver, "Hey, I know of a really good brothel, and this is the name of the woman who really turns a good trick." The first truck driver said, "Well, I'm embarrassed to tell you, but that brothel is pretty close to my home." The other truck driver said, "No problem, just go and visit it, and here's the name of the woman that I want you to get." Well, the Italian truck driver decided, okay, I'll do it. He walks into the brothel, he asks for the services of this particular prostitute, and he sits in the room waiting for her to come in. The door opens, and to his shock and amazement, his wife walks in. People had to restrain him because he tried to kill her. Why? Because you and I are incredibly twisted. We're amazingly two-faced. We're incredibly hypocritical. We have a very easy job pointing out the sins, faults, and wrongdoing in others. We have an incredibly difficult time turning the bright light of analysis and judgment on ourselves and critiquing ourselves. And so we come up with all types of double standards, like the Italian truck driver who regularly went to brothels, but when he was confronted by the fact that his wife was seeking to make a living, make money by being a prostitute, he tried to physically kill her. How amazingly two-faced, how amazingly duplicitous, how amazingly hypocritical. And yet that is a very clear exposure of the human heart. It's exactly what the Bible teaches. The human heart is deceptive, corrupt. We have a lot of good and we have a lot of evil in every human heart. All of us do good, all of us do evil. Alexander Solzhenitsyn, the great Russian novelist, as he lay on a bed of straw in a prison camp in Siberia, came to the understanding, quote, "The line separating good from evil does not run between parties, classes, and countries. Rather, the line separating good from evil runs through every human heart." Jesus Christ said, you got to be born again. What's he talking about? He's not talking about some weird emotionalism. He's talking about the need for the human heart, which is broken, to be repaired. He's talking about the human heart, the human soul that has been divided between right and wrong, good and evil, that is a weird mixture of both being changed on the inside. That is a work of God's Holy Spirit. That is what it means to be born again. It means to be forgiven, and it means to enter the process of allowing God, God's Holy Spirit, to change you, so that instead of falling into evil on such a frequent basis, you begin to change and more frequently begin to do that which is good and true and pure. That's what it means to be born again. And Albert Camus, the atheistic existentialist French author, after talking for several summers with the American minister in Paris, asked this American minister, "What does it mean to be born again?" And the minister said, "It means to be renew and begin a right relationship with God by trusting in Jesus Christ." And Camus said, "I think that's what I want, and I want to be baptized." If an atheistic existentialist philosopher named Albert Camus can get to that point in his life after reading the Gospels and taking a serious look at Jesus Christ, so can you. By God's grace, by the work of God's Holy Spirit in your heart and mind, you can change. But you got to open up. You got to allow Christ to live within you in the person of His Holy Spirit. It's exactly what I need. It's exactly what you need. It is exactly what America needs. God bless you as you make this most important decision and put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ.